Why don't we, you have our intro ready for Carl?
Sure do.
We're ready to boogie down.
It's showtime.
Hey, Carl.
Hey, what's happening, Drew?
Are you pumped for Corey?
I am so excited for it. And then did we figure out what time doors open, what time the show starts? Because now I feel like I'm going to be in a rush when I get there.
Well, why? What time do you get in?
My flight gets in around 2:30, 3 o'clock.
You'll be okay.
You'll be okay. But yeah, you're right. It's going to be...
It is like an hour away. No, it's probably about an hour 15 from the airport.
Yeah, but...
We'll come here or whatever.
We'll need some brisk pacing to get there on time. But yeah...
There's one thing we're known for.
When does the show start, though?
Well,
I think he's going to be on shortly after doors open. So I think we got to get there when it's doors, because there are two other backup bands. But we'll find out. We will get the lowdown. We have the connections to do it.
I just wanted to say real quick, Mark, I feel bad for you. You got a pretty shitty boss over there. I can't believe you had to work during the European Cup final.
Oh, I know.
What a second half that was. That was such an incredible
It was really
game.
great, wasn't it? I know.
How many goals?
So let me ask you this. There were 3 goals in the second half. But
Wow.
But Drew, is basketball 50 to 100 times better than soccer based on scoring?
Well, I think
Why
basketball...
is indoor lacrosse more popular than the NHL without down to scoring? Your guys' argument is so wrong about this. Doesn't make any sense.
No, I like to see some scoring. It doesn't have to be a ton, but there's just not enough scoring.
What if they just made every goal 25 points? I can change the scores for you. You can see.
They got to make the
25. It was great.
They got to make the net bigger, or they got to make the field shorter. They got to do something.
That net's already too big. That's huge.
It is pretty big. How can the net score more?
Game. It was an awesome
great
Too many
game.
players on the field. Break it down to like 6-on-6.
I did. Well, that's funny. We were talking about how much I hate shootouts, and after they do that extra time, Brandon had the good idea. Like they should just pull one guy off every 3 minutes. So you end up just having 2-on-2.
Oh, or how about this? Pull the goalies.
Yeah, why not?
That's pretty wild.
That'd be fun. Yeah.
Hey, do they pull the goalie in soccer? Does that ever happen?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like for a corner, if it's towards the end of the game to get an extra head down there. Or
It's not really pulling the goalie. The goalie will just play all
just
the way
comes
up.
up. Yeah.
Oh, the goalie will be the guy trying to head it too?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
It's happened before. Yeah.
Wow, this is valuable
It's a great
information.
sport. I'm glad you're finally getting on
Get
board.
into it. Yes.
No, that was huge. Carl, yesterday you did something on your Patreon show that I had no knowledge whatsoever, that John was making music after his 2 albums that he basically got because he was on the Howard Stern show and he could play a little guitar. But suddenly in 2012, he just makes this, what looks like a fairly expensive video to me, of a really shitty song that's also a total ripoff.
Yeah, I Feel Small is the name of the song. And it wasn't even on Patreon. It's on our YouTube, or if you listen to our show, it's a mini-sode I put out today. You can find it under our live show tab. But basically, I had a guy looking into, because John's always threatening people with copyrights. And he's going to copyright strike your channel, and he's going to got copyright law behind him, and he's going to do all this stuff. So this guy looked up, like, what copyrights does John own? Because it's obviously public information. John never filed a copyright for the song he uses as his intro to his podcast. And what's crazy about it is that anytime someone's sniping him, he plays that to be like, and now we're going to strike you. You just played my copyright. I'm going to strike you. So I said, all right, John, let's try something. Let's experiment. I'm going to play the entire song on my show. Let's see if I get a copyright strike. So far, so good.
Now, where do you suppose the money came for that video? Because don't you agree that he spent money on that?
Oh, yeah, no, there's definitely money spent. I mean, it's all shot like at his house. His wife plays his wife. So there's some, corners cut here for sure.
By the way, Susanna looks pretty good.
Yeah, she's got some good cleavage in this video. Should we play it just so we can see?
Yeah, I think
what
we
we're
should.
talking about?
Also, get ready for another shock, which is seeing John's body with his shirt off 12 years ago. He doesn't look bad.
Oh, you like what you see, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
A little excited.
I gotta say, he doesn't look great either, though, Drew. Look at him.
Hey,
Come on.
keep in mind, this is a comedy song, all right? We're all going to laugh.
Okay.
Right.
Shouldn't we mention, though, that Carl, that the song, he's stealing a 25-year joke that Howard Stern was still running with at the time?
Yeah. Howard Stern's whole thing was he has a small penis. That's why his first book and his movie was called Private Parts. And I think the tagline was, how could someone with so little do so much? Like that was Howard Stern's big thing. He's got a small penis.
Yeah.
Stuttering John leaves the Howard Stern show, and 4 years later writes this song that he thinks is going to go viral about having a small penis. A little too close to home.
Not very self-aware.
I feel small.
All right. When my wife and I want to get in the mood, we put some Pono on the tube, but all the guys on there don't make me please when the sponsors hang down to their knees. You know what I'm saying? See, Pono's not good if you're a tiny guy. When you watch these guys, you just want to cry, because when you see their lower epidermis, those nasty dudes are hung like a thermos.
And it was pointed out that the
Yes.
joke about the porn stars being hung like a thermos, like Howard's made that reference
Stern
many
uses
times.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has a joke coming up about. Did he say he's small as a baby's hiney or something? Tiny like a
that's
baby's.
crazy. He also, there's another reference to a veggie boy, which considering he has a trans son, seems very inappropriate.
No, it's just so badly written. I'm dying to know who paid for this.
I think I like Piscopo's song better so far.
Oh yeah, what's that? Carol or
Yeah.
some? It's a female's name. I think he financed this, Carl, because he's working then, right? He's making good money.
Right. Yes, he had money. He was working on the Tonight Show still. He's working with Jay Leno. And so he was trying a lot of different projects at this time. He made a movie, One Too Many. So
What
this is
do we know what the box office was for One Too Many?
box office.
I think it
Stuff,
was,
Drew. Good stuff.
I think it was straight to DVD.
Still got it, buddy.
Is it possible it made any money?
No.
I didn't think so.
It's
but
impossible. Does it have Rotten Tomato score on it?
That's a good
think
question.
anybody
I don't know.
reviewed
Yeah,
it?
look it up. Let's see a little more of the video.
Be careful what you ask for, dude.
On a 2 feet tall, I feel right tiny, and it makes me whiny. It was Long Don Silver and Johnny Y. When my wife saw them, she said,
Oh my God.
smile on her face, it made me sick when she realized those dudes' dick had a dick. It didn't make me jump.
That was awful.
So he's laying in bed. If you're not watching, he's laying in bed with his actual wife, and she's in a bra with her titties popping, looking good.
Yeah.
And so he says, it was Long John Silver, whatever porn star, and his wife, who's in her 40s,
Yeah.
for the first time
Yeah.
saw a big penis. Was like, whoa, what is this? I didn't know this existed. Okay, sure.
National Lampoon presents One Too Many, 16% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's higher than I thought.
What'd the critics give it?
It doesn't have critics.
What?
It's
They
just
didn't even
There's no way there's critics.
only audience.
What? They didn't bother reviewing it? That's crazy. I gotta say too, watching this video, I think John is a worse dancer than I thought he'd be.
Yeah.
And,
Far.
but
I
his
love
gut,
this video because it shows you, when left to his own devices, what John is capable of. So he wrote this song, he made this video, like this is what he thinks is comedy. He thinks he's Adam Sandler.
yeah, I agree.
He's capable of.
And the gut is just forming there. He's so much fatter now. He looks so much worse.
That was 3 million Coors Lights ago.
But that's stunning for being. How many years ago was this shot? Did you say?
2008, I think.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
so that's 16 years. It's still stunning. I mean, well, let's play the rest of it. Why not?
Always showed off the math skills, this guy.
In college for sex, I had to beg when you have hurry villages between your legs. When I get over
Oh, nothing like a Hermé Village's reference in 2008. I mean, he had to have been dead for years. Isn't there a better, smaller person?
I thought it was too soon myself.
Yeah, exactly. Respect.
I get it too big when you get one. 'Cause I feel small on a 2 feet tall.
Oh my
I
God.
feel so tiny, like a baby's honey.
I feel so tiny, like a baby's tiny.
What is it?
That's so bad. I feel so.
I feel so tiny, like a baby's tiny. Why would you include anything about a baby's anything in a song about not being able to satisfy your wife because your penis is too tiny?
and a baby's hiney is bigger than a small
Yeah,
penis.
it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any. Yeah, it's not the same shape. It doesn't make any sense at all.
I really,
Yes,
I
I'm sorry.
really believe he thinks he's hot here.
Oh,
he's got a
coming
shirt
up is the breakdown part. This is great. You guys are gonna love this.
It was time to shower. I take my clothes off and feel no joy when the kids all call me a vagin. I'm so small. Why they use a urinal?
That's the rap part.
That was it. That was it. That was.
Yeah, that was the
boy.
rap part where he says the guys called him Veggie Boy.
I'm so small at the urinal.
Get the urinal.
He's breaking down words like Slim Shady.
So small. I use the bathroom stall.
He's so small, you can only see his balls.
were about to poke, she said to me, is this some kind of joke? She wasn't too happy, poor little Winnie, when my belly button wasn't outy, but my penis wasn't in. So small!
There's a lot of syllables into that line.
Yeah, he really forced that. He really shoehorned that one in. Yeah.
My belly button was naughty, but my
changed it.
my belly button was naughty, but my penis is an innie.
Yeah. Look at that still of him.
Holy shit.
What a loser.
I feel real small when I hump my ball. In school, my teacher thought she was a genius. She told us boys drew a picture of our penis. Guys complained loose sleeves would not fit. I drew mine on heaven post-it. Well, I don't know.
All right, can we talk about that scene right
Yes,
there?
that was pretty bad. Go ahead.
Is when he was in school, his teacher thought she was a genius. She told the boys to draw pictures of their penis.
That happens.
Yeah, I remember that in school.
We had to swim nude in gym class, so I think it happened.
See, so for you, Drew, you'd have to draw a picture of like your friend's penis because you've seen it.
Well, that's what they had us do, actually.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it happened. Wow.
Oh, like a jalapeno.
Small and jalapeno. Good rhyme.
Holy crap! Hey, look at us, we're dancing because we're doing our own slum little dog millionaire.
Watch this, fella dog. Good choreography.
So do you hear me? I said, do you hear me? I feel oh my God, listen to the harmony. So I'm so freaking small, dude. It's so embarrassing. So
Oh, God.
I don't get the small penis dance either. The choreography is.
Well, you heard him say he kind of ripped off Slumdog Millionaire. I would read a whole book on the oral history of that video, like where they talk to everybody, like all the dancers
that would be fun.
and the girls in bikinis.
I want to talk to the band. And be like, did you guys think this was a good song? Did you guys now this is going to go viral? This
Did
video?
any of you get
Now,
paid?
Drew,
Yeah.
I want to warn you. I don't know if you guys are going to post this on YouTube or not, but John went on his show today. He was off yesterday. He's back on today. And he knows I played this video and he goes, "Oh, Lady K says I don't have the copyright. I do. In fact, I have it right here." And then he started looking at his computer and then he's like, "Okay, I'm not sure where it is, but I'll find it." I swear to God. And meanwhile, my PI is texting me because he's watching this stuff too. He's just like, I mean, it's obviously a public record. It wouldn't just be on his computer.
He loves those power chords too. He plays. That's his intro for his show.
Yes, that's his intro for his show. He thinks that riff right there proves he's a better guitarist than I am. That is the most basic shit right there.
I guarantee you, we're all going to be walking around today going, "I feel so small, like a jalapeno."
Oh boy.
Oh, that was great.
Well, Carl wanted to look at some radio because we were talking about radio shows. How would they handle the Trump assassination? And I was guessing that they would completely avoid it, almost pretend it didn't happen, which I think I was right in large part. Some people addressed it. Some people, I'm sure, took it on. Actually, Woody in the Morning, Carl, I was surprised he actually made some commentary on it that I pretty much agreed with.
Good.
Yeah, actually, if you want to start there, I just have a couple of clips from the Woody Show. Alt 98.7. This show hosted by Woody, Greg Gorey, Seabass, Sammy, Bort, Caroline, Menace, and Morgan.
The good thing is every hour.
At one point, it's a big crew.
I was going to say, Carl, the good thing is every hour they reintroduce themselves too, which is,
do.
it fills up a whole 15 minutes.
I love Menace.
So, if you want to start with
He's
my
nuts.
clip 13, this is how the show starts off. It's got some energy. This is Monday morning, July 15th, after the weekend of the Trump attempted assassination.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Woody.
It is Monday, beginning of a brand new week. Monday, July the 15th. Payday.
That's right.
Rip. Happy payday, Greg.
Happy payday.
We are the Woody Show.
I
Woody.
forgot.
There's Greg, very happy now.
Yeah.
I thought you were a guy who looks at your bank account multiple times a day just to make sure it's still there.
I do, but not this early in the morning.
So there's a lot of paycheck talk and a lot of checking bank account stock.
It's going to turn quick, isn't it?
That's a really odd way to start. I would just think you jump right into it. I mean, isn't everyone thinking about this?
Well, you're a morning radio guy. You know that the 6:05 audience is much smaller than the 7:05 and the 8:05. So you don't want to blow your load right out of the gate, right?
But you can say crazier shit at 6:05 than you can say at 8:05.
That's a good point.
You can really go out on a limb.
So after the usual small talk, they go around the whole room. Hey, what'd you do this weekend? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. Everyone does their little piece.
It's a good way to relate to the listener.
I love when they get
Right.
to menace.
And then clip 14, they do get into the Trump talk, which is good to hear.
Obviously, a big weekend for news. Nothing bigger than the assassination attempt on President Trump at his rally on Saturday. The shooter ID, 20-year-old loser from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. Like, dude, the big question really, how was he able to get up on a roof of a building with a rifle with a clear shot of where Trump would be speaking? Big question, big problem for the Secret Service.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
I mean, said something.
yeah, no, credit to Woody. He comes out, calls the shooter a loser. Like, he's picking sides on this, you know, and I heard other radio shows that didn't want to touch it.
but I got to tell you, isn't this the easiest thing to pick a side on?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Not only that, he's in a rock audience. His audience is probably 85% male. And when you look at Trump versus Biden, by the way, it's like 65-35 with males in terms of voting for Trump. I mean, if you want to break it down statistically, you can do that, and you should be okay.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny how you weren't allowed to even admit that you might vote for Trump until that debate? And then I was just like, yeah, of course I'm voting for Trump. Are you nuts?
I know the red hats. You couldn't wear a fucking red hat 3-4 years ago. This is crazy. It's still crazy.
So
in my
then
opinion.
Woody goes into the celebrity deaths. And by the way, the morning radio is loving the celebrity deaths. It gives them an
Yeah.
excuse to not talk about Trump.
Yeah, and there were a
I
lot of them over
that.
the weekend, too.
Yes, so they go into that, they get all the news stories from the weekend, then they come back from a commercial break, and they start doing their first segment. And I have to say, this segue into their first segment here is a little bit odd, because you can tell, like, what they want to be talking about, like what they had planned before all the news happened.
And a hell of a weekend news-wise. Phones are open, 877-44-WOODY. Hit us up with a text over to 22987. I know it kind of makes for an awkward segue, but I'm going to try my best here with a question. Are you burned out? A lot of people are. And they're deciding to skip vacations going anywhere, even staycations, which, are close to home. And they're doing what's called a sleepcation.
Okay.
And millennials and Gen Z are the most into it. They're also being called napcations. So doing that over trips that are planned with a ton of
What a
activities.
stupid fucking
There's
topic.
another stat showing that 61% of young travelers are focusing on self-care and personal wellness.
You know what the saddest thing about that cut is that that's the first time the other people on the show chimed in on what he was talking about. Nobody chimed in over the Trump thing.
No, they were too scared. I mean, not even Menace would say anything, which sucks.
Revoke his name.
That gave me very much like Dave and Chuck vibes, where they're just like, hey, did you hear about this? A new survey came out.
Yeah,
People
on
are opting for
phones.
a
I meant to
sleep
tell you, Drew, because after you were texting me, I started listening to it. They went into this conversation and they set up with this is a story. This lady bought a couch that was used and she reached in between the cushions. And I swear this is the grossest thing you could find in your cushions. What do you think it is? And of course, immediately, like, I don't know, a turd.
I heard it. I heard the same thing, Mark.
I was furious that they were talking about it, and then the way the whole thing went from there was so tame and stupid and pointless.
Guess what it was, Carl?
What was it? I didn't hear that.
Fingernails.
Oh.
Ew.
That was their big setup. And,
Yeah.
going back to Woody.
And then they took fake calls and emails about other gross things that were found in your cushions.
Oh, of course.
Because,
Oh, it's
the
great.
president was almost assassinated.
the phone lines. Let's talk about things in couch cushions. What do you got?
so-
Change, says Bill. Yeah, change is in that. That's right.
No, I mean, you're begging for phone calls about these stupid staycations, and you can go, hey, what'd you think of the Trump near assassination? How about calling? Do you think people might call about that? Holy shit. And then you can blame them when they say something crazy.
Exactly.
It's not your fault.
And then you look great.
yeah.
Drew, I was gonna say, like, if you still had a morning radio show, you don't have to prep anything.
And nothing.
Like your entire Monday morning is talking about this Trump thing and taking phone calls and watching videos and getting different reactions. Like this is an easy day.
No, absolutely. And when people say totally reckless, irresponsible things, you can hang up on them or make fun of them. And a lot of times people call in and they notice things you didn't notice. Yeah. It actually is kind of a fun show to do. It's a terrible topic, but it's an easy show to do. No, you have no preparation whatsoever. It should be a great, you should look forward to it.
But they have to do their regular segments. I guess it's a very segmented show. So they go into cheers and jeers. And, you know, props to Woody. His jeers was the Secret Service. And he rags on the Secret Service quite a bit. Like, how is this possible? And going through kind of the stuff that you guys were talking about on the show yesterday, where all these videos are leaking out now where they should have known. And they had guys on roofs right around there that could see the guy. And so that was good. I was happy to see that Woody was taking a stance, actually talking about the real thing that we're talking about.
Wait, let me guess. Is there a moron of the day? And it was Thomas Crooks, that crazy guy that tried to shoot Trump. Our moron of the day.
Well,
With some sound effects.
it's funny you say moron of the day because the other show I checked out had a moron in the news was a segment.
Jesus Christ.
So, are you guys familiar with Bob and Sherri?
Oh, the show.
That's right, host Bob Lacey and Sherri Lynch, along with Lamar, who I guess is the comic relief. You'll be the judge of that. They come on their morning show, which is syndicated in what, 50 markets?
They've been on forever too. They're a greater media station, right? Weren't they?
They were, yes. And
I know they're in central Michigan, and they're not in Detroit, though.
No.
but their home base is Charlotte, and they're getting really old. And as we find out later, the references are getting really old.
Really?
That's a good tease right there.
Oh,
But
boy.
let's start off with how the show starts. By clip number 5, very different vibe than what we just heard from the Woody Show. And of course, they're starting out on a Monday, so there's a whole montage of songs that talk about working or being at work or jobs.
Presidents being shot.
Nope, none of that.
Just get ready for work.
Is this your handiwork, or did you bring in an independent contractor to finish the job?
God, I can't wait to quit this job. You know what? You all suck. I quit.
And now, getting you to work, it's Bob and Sherri.
Oh, a brand new week, everybody. Welcome to the show. We're all back in the saddle after a little time off.
Nice fresh production.
Bob and Lamar and I and Doc, we had a whole week off, and Max had a half a day last Thursday. So, yay.
Hey, don't get used to that. Don't get spoiled, buddy. Don't get spoiled.
That's what I was. That's right. That's what I was worried. He's going to take that half day on Thursday, and he's going to think he's something.
Hey, you know who did have a good weekend? Donald Trump.
I'm a little disappointed. How come when I come on the show, you guys don't all clap for me? Hey, Carl's here, everyone. Hey.
It's just so painful.
Why did they start their show like that?
I don't know. And the production, too, they're using Huey Lewis, Working for a Living. What's that, an 84 song?
Hey, they had
What
Rihanna.
else is in there?
Rihanna was in there. That's at least 7 years old, isn't it?
Oh, I didn't hear Rihanna.
Oh, there's a ton. I cut most of it out. I just wanted to play a little taste of it.
Thank
But yeah,
you.
there's a ton of different songs in there. So I'm waiting for, all right, the big news of the weekend, the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. No, instead, Sherri's going to talk about how she was just, because she had the week off last week, she was out in Arizona visiting some family with her kids.
Oh,
and
cool.
guys, it's hot out there.
Number one?
This is clip number 6, actually.
6, okay.
I said, okay, we checked the weather forecast, and it's going to be 108, 110, 109. And Karamia goes, 109 what? And I said, degrees.
Is that Celsius or is that Fahrenheit?
Oh, my God.
Are you okay?
Did you hear Lamar's joke there? He goes, wait, 100 degrees, that's Celsius or Fahrenheit? 100 Celsius is what water boils at. That's why they picked that number.
What are you going to Arizona?
In all fairness, in high school, Perry, in our class, asked the physics teacher, like, how come water doesn't boil in Arizona when it's over 100 degrees? Like, they're lakes. I'm like, oh, my God, Perry.
Why do you go to Arizona at that time of year, too? That's a pretty good question. Because you're worried about the heat.
It's cheaper. Well, that's our family, right? Yeah.
Okay.
It's just so annoying. So they're just like, oh my gosh, can you believe that? Then they do the whole like dry heat, stick your head in the oven stuff.
But it's only 95 at night.
Did they say something like, it was hotter than the last train to Auschwitz?
No, that was the lead singer of Blood, Sweat, and
That's
Tears
right.
came up with that one.
Oh,
Have you ever heard that story, Carl?
No, I did not.
He was performing in West Bloomfield, a very
Jewish area.
And he said, it's hotter than the last train to Auschwitz out here. Then you could hear a pin drop in that place.
But he made the lead story of the news.
He did, yeah.
First time I heard about Blood, Sweat, and Tears in a long time.
Follow that up with too soon?
No, I followed up with spinning wheel, got to go round.
All right, so later on in the show, and I will tell you, this is a morning show. When it condenses down to a podcast, it's about an hour and 15 minutes. So that's how much actual content is going on over a 4-hour span.
And how
so
much?
We're probably over an hour later than this in the actual radio show time. And they get into some tips about how to stay cool in this extreme heat. This is my
Stay
subject for a
cool
long
in
time.
extreme heat. A heat wave continues to grip parts of our country, and folks, let me tell you right now, it's not going away. No, this is not unusual. We're going to have to deal with this. Here's the best way to adapt and stay safe. If you don't have air conditioning, find a place that does, like a mall, a movie theater, or a cooling station. Stay hydrated with a mix of water and electrolyte drinks. If you must exercise, do so with extreme caution or power walk in a mall instead, and try to avoid alcohol or caffeine.
Holy shit.
Okay, how fucking broke is our audience? The mall or a cooling station? Is there an audience that broke?
Drew, can I go in my pool? They didn't say anything about that. I guess I can't. That sucks.
What the fuck?
How dumb is their audience to not think of, boy, it's really hot out. Maybe I should go inside where there's air conditioning. That was the first tip.
Yeah, if you don't have air conditioning, you should go somewhere that has air conditioning. Wow. No,
I never would have thought about that if it wasn't for Bob and Sherry.
But aren't
so smart.
Our cooling stations, isn't that homeless people?
Yeah, typically, yeah.
I thought it was.
All right, so then this is the chemistry of the show. So they read those tips for you, and now Sherri comes in, and I guess her role is to have a pretty funny line before they hit the post here.
I gotta say, so I'm hot, my AC's broken, and you want me to have no caffeine and no alcohol.
Correct.
Am I like a possum? Because that's not like the misery.
And you need to go to the mall where there's air conditioning. Why don't you bring a pillow, because you're going to be sleeping there until the security guard wakes you up.
Yeah, I can tough it out during the daylight hours, but at bedtime, are they letting me into Sephora to sleep with my pillow and blanket?
I'm going to guess no. I'm going to guess no. It is a battle these days. It's Bob and Sherri.
A battle?
Oh, man.
What is a battle?
Against the heat.
And what was the possum reference? I don't
understand
What was that?
Yeah,
What do
I
you think
didn't
of a possum? Why possums don't have alcoholism? What do you mean?
I had no idea what that meant.
But I think they got way off track
they
there
hate
because they're
caffeine.
watching the clock, counting down to like that when they finally get to come off. They're just like, yeah, I know it's a battle out there these days. All right, Bob and Sherri in the morning. What?
Battle? That's a reference to a fictitious getting kicked out of Sephora because you're sleeping.
Carl, I kept thinking, I can't believe just the dumb, basic, generic Bobservations that Bob makes in the course of a show. I started to feel like, is this AI Bob or is this a real person? He doesn't have anything to say. It's just totally
That's a good
generic.
question, because my clip number 3 is a Bobservation, and I think, Drew, you picked up on this one too, where he wonders, if you think you're a funny person, could you date someone who's funnier than you?
Oh my God. Never thought about that.
Great observation.
Wow. Here's my problem. It's possible she'd be funnier than me, and I wouldn't like that at all. Not like that at all.
I wonder, seriously, I wonder if there are people who, on another subject, but still in this vein, who would not be involved with somebody romantically if they were funnier than they were. Somebody who's been told all his life or all her life, you are so funny. And then along comes somebody else, and they're actually funnier. Is that is that? I know you were kidding with it, or maybe you weren't.
No, I'm not kidding.
I wonder if there are people who wouldn't date a ginger or a person with curly hair or an Islamic terrorist. Like, yeah, these things exist. Of course that exists. Yes. Great observation.
It's a battle out there.
But the examples he came up with once he really got into thinking it, I just loved how current they were, and it just really brought it home.
My clip number 4, because then they start talking about comics who have dated romantically or been married romantically, just to drive this point home.
So you do see comedians matching up with other comedians.
Jimmy Kimmel, Gracie Allen, and George Burns. I mean, they go back for years and years.
Well, for that matter,
Elaine
Ben Stiller's
May.
parents.
Yeah,
Ben Stiller's
yeah,
parents.
that's right. Elaine May and Mike Nichols. I mean, yeah, I mean, there are couples out there that were linked romantically, and they're both very funny.
Those are 3 of the oldest references.
I had to look up Nichols and Elaine May. Nichols was married to Diane Sawyer. I remember when he died, like, I don't know, 15 years ago or something. But I was like, Mike Nichols and Elaine May were a comedy duo? I look it up, 1959 to 1962. They had 3 albums. That's 62 years ago, before the Beatles.
And you notice that Lamar's trying to talk about Jimmy Kimmel and Sarah Silverman, but they trample over him. I mean, those two aren't funny anymore, but at least it's a little bit more of a topical reference.
Well, and he was with Silverman, wasn't he? I mean, so
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
Gracie
But
Allen.
his current wife is the head writer, I think, on his show.
Right. Well, yeah, something like that. Yeah.
George Burns and Gracie Allen? What? How old is their fucking audience? How old is he? I mean, that's so old as reference.
I can answer that question, Drew. I went to their website doing some research on the show. Above the top navigation, there's a drop down to toggle the font size. do you ever see that on a website?
No.
And by the way, small is not an option. It's just large, extra large, and gigantic.
Did you know Bob was the host of a show that doesn't exist anymore, but it used to be in almost every market called PM Magazine? I mean, this is like 85 or 83 or something like that. It was just the softest, just the gayest lifestyle show. It was so dumb. I don't. Do you? Anybody remember that show?
No, but I'm going to look on YouTube for it.
Yeah,
Gotta
Bob
be
was.
some clips.
He was quite something. That was a big like after network news show. If you wanted to stay local, but it was a million years ago. People are probably going PM Magazine. Never heard of it.
Yeah, it looks like 1978 PM Magazine.
Yeah, and it's 2024.
Yeah.
And he's talking about couples where one person might be funnier than the other, like Gracie and George Burns and Mike Nichols and whoever, Lane May. I don't even know who that is.
No
She's
one
dead.
has. She's probably been dead for 50 years.
70s.
That was a pretty cool intro there, though. Yeah.
Hey, what's that clip?
This is PM Magazine.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I haven't seen Bob on here yet.
Yeah,
so.
like the video on these looks old. That's how old the show is. Because I saw John Brandmeier on a PM Magazine show in Arizona from 40 years ago or something. It was like, God, you can barely see it. It's so old. But yeah, Bob's been around.
All right. So they start off early on in the show. They do say, wow, what a weekend. And so I'm thinking, okay, good. They're going to address this as an important part of being a morning radio show. Isn't this what they stress about radio? Is that, it used to be local, not so much anymore, but at least it's topical. You're talking about the things everyone's talking about at that time. That's why, what are you going to listen to? Joe Rogan? It was pre-recorded? No,
they
listen to radio. It's live. It's happening now.
They keep me informed. I know what's going on because I listen to Bob and Sherri.
Right. So clip number 7, they address the weekend that we had.
So we hope you had a nice weekend. There was some sad and scary things that happened over the weekend. Shannon Doherty, Richard Simmons, and also the great Dr. Ruth passed away. And we love them all very, very much. We have some looking back at their careers and also straight ahead, things Bob didn't know. This is Bob and Sherri.
True. Weird stuff.
What was the scary part? They said it was a sad and scary weekend, and they just said 3 sad things.
Well, death is scary.
Carl, was there any reference at all to the assassination attempt?
There's one reference that finally comes up, but I just want to go back to what they just said right there, because they go, oh my gosh, what a sad weekend. We loved them all very, very much. Shannon Doherty, Richard Simmons, Dr. Ruth, because they have to. They have to love everyone all very, very much.
Absolutely.
But I don't understand what's so sad about this. Now, I understand people are fans of these people, but you have two people who are very old and out of the public spotlight at this point in Richard Simmons and Dr. Ruth. And Shannon Doherty has been battling cancer for years. This was not a surprise for anyone.
They caught him off guard.
But by the way, there was a great observation there. She was a big TV star and a beautiful woman. And Sherri said that it was a punch in the stomach.
Oh my God!
Shannon's death was like a punch in the stomach.
Does she know her?
No.
Yeah, they go into long segments about, and I'm waiting for some Trump stuff, but then they immediately start talking about the time that Richard Simmons has been on the show and some of the wacky things that he said when he was on the show.
And the shitty quality audio they use. It's like, hey, there could be no better material than him on our show. And so they play this horrible audio from like 25 years ago.
So
which
then
is not great.
Finally, my clip number 9, they finally bring up Trump. And I'm like, okay, good. We're going to get into it here.
Well, it was pretty quiet, almost boring weekend in America, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Psych.
Good Lord.
A million things happened. Starting with the terrible assassination attempt in Pennsylvania and the death of 3 show business celebrities, icons, really. Shannon Doherty, 53 years old, so young, lost her battle with cancer.
That's it.
Oh my! I just realized, and I wrote down in my notes like this. They finally talk about Trump. They don't even say his name. Assassination attempt in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
That's the only reference to it. They never talk about it again.
Wow.
It never came up?
It never came up again, Joe. I listened to the entire show.
Oh my God.
Wow.
That's incredible.
They're just like, well, former president was almost shot. That hasn't happened in a while. But more importantly, Shannon Doherty died. We all fell in love with her.
Hey, we'd love to talk about what happened in Pennsylvania, but we got Bob's Summer Safety Tips coming up, and we got that theatrical musician, Daryl Rhodes. We're going to hear some stories from Daryl, who's a local guy.
So they're going through and they're talking on and on about this Richard Simmons stuff, and they're talking about the clips and how great a guy he was, and his brothers tweeting things out. And so it's time for a commercial break. And so my clip 10, I'm assuming they're going to say, okay, we'll get into the assassination attempt after the break.
He called, wrote, and emailed thousands of people throughout his career to offer help. Please respect the family at this difficult time. Lenny Simmons.
Let's pause here. Let's pause here and come back and talk about Dr. Ruth and Shannon Doherty. This is Bob and Sherri.
Of course.
It's crazy.
It's
like
really
they're totally avoiding, and they're talking about topical things. That's it'd be one thing, just like 28% of millennials don't want to go to work anymore. They want to work from home. You're like, all right, cool.
The toenails and the couch that you bought.
Right. Something like that. You'd be fine.
Bob's fucking summer safety tips took up like 7 or 8 minutes.
I kind of want to hear them.
They're so stupid.
They also go into morons in the news. That's before they even brought up the Trump thing.
Hey,
and
they could have Thomas Crooks in there and morons in the news. Why not?
And then they have a tease. So my clip number 8, I always like when they're like, you want to stick around through the break because coming up, we're going to be talking about this.
That is morons in the news. Straight ahead, where you should spend your golden years based on your astrology sign. Ooh, that sounds intriguing.
Does it?
Nope.
I don't think so.
Oh my God, I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Holy
You're not
shit.
intrigued by that?
Oh my God, this show can really waste time.
I'd rather talk about which current lion is going to be in the Ring of Fame.
The Ring of Honor, yeah.
The Ring of Honor.
Did you catch Bob's summer safety tip, by the way, about dealing with an undertow? How you're supposed to swim sideways along with the waves?
Good to know, by the way. They all said that. Like, that's good information to know. Thank you, Bob.
And what should I do if an assassin shoots at me? What's your summer safety tip for that?
Don't
Bob?
ever talk about it.
If you don't talk about it, it didn't happen.
Then they do a segment called Everybody Needs a Laugh. And they introduce us early on in the show. They're like, coming up, comedian so-and-so. And I assume they're going to talk to that person. They're going to be in an interview.
Right,
No, they literally just play a 5-minute segment straight of the person's stand-up.
Carl, it was Luann Morgan. Who the fuck is Luann Morgan?
I so don't care. I didn't even write it down.
I've never heard of her, and Bob called her Leanne Morgan.
All right, so then this next part is what you were talking about before, where Daryl Rhodes joins them for an interview.
Theatrical musician.
It's a pre-recorded interview. But we're going to start with their podcast promo. And I left that in because there's an important part to that. But then we're going to hear Daryl Rhodes tell us a story that we've never heard before.
It's the stuff we wouldn't, couldn't, shouldn't do on the regular show. The Oddcast on the free Bob and Sherri app.
We had a chance to catch up with theatrical musician and stand-up comedian Daryl Rhodes. He has a brand new book out called The Road to Almost, and he has had such a wild life. Speaking of stories, tell us a favorite that we would not know to ask you about.
Well, in playing with some of the people I played with, if you're familiar with Chuck Berry, did this show with Chuck. And, I don't know if you know this about Chuck Berry, but
yeah, we know.
In the 50s, just like a lot of black artists, he was taken advantage of, and he wasn't going to let that happen.
Wait, there was
so
racism?
He started doing shows where he would insist that you paid him up front. And you have to have it in a brown paper bag.
He put it in his
guitar case.
And he'd keep it on stage.
Put that guitar case on stage closed, and it never left his side of vision.
That's fascinating. Please go on.
I heard it like 50 years ago. It was in Keith Richards' book in the 90s, among other places.
Was Sherri amazed at that story?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they're blown away by it. And then they have like one more question and answer. And the reason why I left that podcast promo, the Oddcast, I wonder if that's been used before. But I was thinking, I'm like, these two are so soft and so vanilla. What could be so outrageous on their podcast? Apparently, the rest of that interview can be found there.
Oh,
nice
God,
tease.
If he was talking about Chuck Berry, couldn't he have brought out Chuck's incredible video of him pissing on prostitutes and have that huge fart that we played on our show thousands of times? When he tells a prostitute, you can smell my farts? Couldn't he come up with something like
it
that?
scares you, didn't it? I thought scared you.
Did I fart in the face?
You got to tune into the Oddcast for that kind of content, I guess.
Or him filming girls in the bathroom.
That might honestly kill Sherri. Like, if she heard that,
that's true.
she might just die.
Might have a heart attack.
Oh, she wouldn't like the song My Ding-a-Ling. That'd be too much for her.
That video, by the way, do we still have that video of Chuck pissing on a prostitute?
We do somewhere, yeah. It's a DVD. It's also got Rob Lowe on there.
Oh, and the Go-Go's forcing this roadie to beat off backstage. That was we got that from the editor of Screw Magazine.
Al Goldstein.
Al Goldstein.
Rest in peace, Al.
Yeah, we interviewed
truly sad weekend. Al Goldstein passed away.
He was honestly a really good interview, except for
a funny guy.
When he breathed, it was like because he was apparently close to death.
Yeah.
But great material.
Yeah.
And he did.
You guys know I have a Patreon at the paywall, right? You can't send me these video clips. Come on,
we gotta find them. I would send them in a heartbeat.
I'll send them to you.
Yeah,
be great.
Just gotta find it. Yeah.
No, it's great. The Go-Go's. That thing got around because I think they were asked about it eventually, but that was pretty weird. And this guy could not get hard. He had 5 Go-Go's.
Might as well explain the video, right? It was a roadie.
Yeah, it was a roadie backstage, and the 5 Go-Go's were like trying to talk him into beating off and getting hard, and he was trying, but he couldn't, right?
No, he couldn't get hard because wasn't he high on coke or something?
Yes, they all were.
Could you imagine if you're Louis C.K.? You're Louis C.K. You're just like, they asked him? They were that one asking him? What the fuck?
And this poor guy was just nobody.
No.
He choked.
He can't get his penis hard no matter how much he tries.
I think he was on the video saying, "I feel so small, like a jalapeno."
Are you the urinal?
The urinal.
Oh, God.
I have one more clip on here. I wanted to leave you guys with some jocularity. So they do a segment called "I Can't Believe This." And Sherri introduces this information that she recently read about the settlers to this great country.
Oh, wow.
Because, it is July 4th time.
Yeah.
And she
topical.
Said, you can't believe this, but the settlers, they ate a lot of different types of birds that we no longer eat in this country. And one of those birds was an owl. She talks about how owls were a delicacy back then. And so Bob's got a joke. Clip number 12. I mean, guys, this is good stuff.
To get through the
If I were a server in a restaurant, a fancy one that serves owls, I would go up and the people are looking at me and I'll say, "Chef is preparing a broiled owl that is very tasty with pepper, salt, and a little bit of cumin." And then I would turn my head almost all the way around. It's kind of a joke.
who's having the owl? It's Bob and Shay.
Oh, what a knee slapper!
Good that she tagged it with the "Who's having the owl."
I mean, in a way, she kind of saved it. Because what the fuck is he talking about? I mean, I know owls turn their necks, but what? So
that show is rough.
She is so well. She can really come through under pressure.
It's a battle out there.
Oh my God, that show! What a gold mine, Carl.
Can you? I know. By the way, when I was looking at morning shows to listen to see if they talk about Trump, that was one of the first ones I saw. We've covered them on WATP before. Wow, that is from a different time, a different era. Can you imagine having a job where you're there to talk to a live audience and you can't bring up the Trump attempted assassination?
It's just so weird. I can't imagine, how does radio think that is going to work? I mean, they're in such a horrific situation already to think that not talking about the most topical thing is the key to victory? Seriously?
I wish that, Sherri would give us her take on the Secret Service breakdown here. Let's hear about it.
I bet she has something to say, and Bob has nothing to add. But anyway, all right. So we got all the cuts in?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Carl, I want to mention that you're going to be here next week, of course, for Corey Feldman, and you'll be here doing the show with us on Wednesday. And then also the Magic Bag. We have some tickets available for October 25th, although it's selling very well, isn't it?
Yeah, I think VIP is already sold out. I haven't got an update in a little bit, but it was selling very quickly. So we've sold out the last 2 years. Come hang out with us. Watch the live show at the Magic Bag. They do a great job for us over there. And, of course, it's an awesome venue.
Absolutely.
I wanted to mention regarding Loserville, I did look it up. Doors are at 5:30 from what I've read, and the show starts at 6:30.
Oh, that's great.
That's according to the internet. 6:30 seemed a little late to me, but maybe they all have really short sets.
I was telling Drew, so Brandon and I are going to have some pretty good seats. We're going to get a lot of footage of this show. And so when I come in on Wednesday, we'll be breaking it down for everybody.
Sweet.
But I'm very upset that Corey Feldman's the very first act because it's going to be daylight. I want to see his light show.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, he'll try.
He's got a video that he plays before every show, too. And how are we going to see it in the sunlight?
Actually, you know what? The way that shed is at Pine Knob with the
yeah, it'll be dark enough.
It'll be covered enough that you'll be able to see it.
At least for us in the front.
Might still be a light show. But and then, Carl, you got your Dabbleverse. DabbleCon is going on in August, right?
Yeah, August 16th and 17th, WATPlive.com for tickets. We're going to be at Comedy at the Carlson here in Rochester, New York, and it's a whole weekend of shows. We're doing a roast on Friday and karaoke, and then live podcasts on Saturday, and then the Dabby Award ceremony, the second annual Dabby Award ceremony on Saturday night. And Shuli, Agar, and Bob Levy, and that whole crew is going to be here. Tukey and Cardiff Electric, and that whole crew is going to be here. Dr. Steve. It's going to be a melting pot of guys who like to goof on John.
And you're all getting sued.
Isn't there some men-only dancing going on, too, or something?
Yes, we got the Dabbler Dance Party on Saturday night after the Dabby Awards. We're just playing Stuttering John songs. not his music, the music that's been created from the Dabbleverse. Obviously.
Excellent.
Thank God.
All right. We'll see you soon, Carl.
And also, the current episode that's out there for WATP is the Celeste Rose Show. I know you checked out Celeste Rose a little bit, Drew.
I almost shot myself in the head. I think you did, too.
Over 2 million subs on YouTube.
She
couldn't have less talent.
The most fascinating thing, I think, to her that she did was she took a bath in Gatorade. I'm not joking, am I?
Who cares?
She filled her bath with Gatorade, and then she put bubbles in it, and then she got in it.
And she put the bubbles in after she was done putting the rest of the water and Gatorade in, which doesn't make any sense, which Andy pointed out, of course. He's kind of an expert on bubble baths.
You had to see that it was blue water, and then she could put the bubbles in.
And it's like,
so wild.
This is what gets you 2 billion subscribers? Gatorade. Or is it that, didn't she used to do porn maybe or something?
Well, no, that was her guest on the show, who now is a rebirth coach.
Oh.
These grifters got to figure out that they're making it too obvious, because this woman went through a list of jobs she's failed at. She goes, yeah, I couldn't do this. I tried to do this. I tried to do that. She goes, now I'm a rebirth coach. I will help teach you how to live your life. I'm like, oh, I'm good. I think I got it.
I really, if anybody can explain to me why there's 2 million subscribers, it's so, I know she's really pretty. It's not just that she's pretty, is it? Or is it?
Well, one of our listeners, because I said she's not even attractive. I don't get it at all. Someone told me she used to be hot. Okay, maybe that's what this.
Well, her numbers are way down. She's not getting 2 million views on her videos.
People just haven't unsubscribed.
No, no.
But she claims on her website, and I think this is accurate, that if you go across all of her social media channels, 46 million followers.
Oh,
Oh,
crazy.
Jesus Christ. Wow. All right, I'll go shoot myself, and maybe I'll be here next week, Carl.
Sounds good. Guys, I'll see you next week for Corey Feldman. Looking forward to it.
See you.
Later.
All right.